Welcome to the office. Let's talk. So, maybe you've been working at a firm for a while and you're hoping to get a raise or promotion, and you want to know what you could do to help with that. Today, I want to talk about that. One thing to keep in mind, though, is that getting a raise or promotion, it's not just about the time you've served or the amount of years you've been there. If you have been doing the same thing every year for 30 years, you don't have 30 years of experience. You have 1 year of experience 30 times. So, really, what I want to talk about today is keeping a measurable growth, communicating your value, and also understanding how firms actually operate so that you can show the benefit you have to them. I want to walk you through some practical steps, whether you're a recent grad, an intern, project architect, wherever you are in your career, these still apply no matter what. And what's important is this isn't about office politics or manipulation. It's about being the kind of person that the firm can't afford to lose. So I think first, the most important is you have to understand how your firm makes money. If you know what drives profitability, whether it's billable hours, efficiency, repeat clients, you can align your work with that, with your firm's philosophy. Firms, they don't give raises just out of generosity. Maybe they'll give you a raise for cost of living, which really isn't a raise, it's just to keep you maintained where you are. What you're looking for is a raise that shows your improvement. So they'll give you the raise when your contribution to the firm outweighs the cost of you working at the firm. And if you make your boss's life easier, if you make clients happier, or you help the projects move smoother, you're already ahead of most. So when you think like an owner, you're going to start seeing where their leverage points are. That's the difference between someone who just does their job and someone who's ready for a promotion. One thing to note, reliability, it's underrated. So if your boss knows that they can hand something to you and you'll get it done without them having to chase you down, you've earned their trust. And trust is currency. So deliver on time. Be proactive with your updates and look ahead and try to figure out what's coming up next. Something as simple as cleaning up a drawing set before anybody asks or catching coordination issues before a meeting can go a long way. If you can make your manager's job easier, they'll fight for your raise long before you even have to ask for it. One thing that also goes overlooked is you have to keep a record of the things you've accomplished. What projects have you led this year? What clients have you helped? Or maybe you've improved the usage of a software. You're not keeping score, but what you're doing is you're building up an evidence so that when it's review time, you don't just say, hey, I've been here for a year, I should get more money. You can say, in this last year, I've managed 2 small projects independently, and I've helped standardize our templates, and I've trained 2 interns. What that does is that turns that vague request for just getting more money into a tangible case for growth, and the managers respect people who come prepared with this information. But those managers, they don't always know what you want. Your boss isn't a mind reader, and often they're just trying to keep the business running. So they're not thinking about the things that you're doing all the time. So ask for dedicated check-ins or performance review. You don't have to be nagging and bugging them about it all the time, but get it on the calendar every couple of months, every quarter, every 6 months. You want to sit down and talk about how you're progressing and how you're growing. Come in with notes on your growth, what you've learned, what you'd like to learn. One of my employees, he's a recent graduate and he wants to move up to become a project manager. So we sat down and he told me, I have a goal of becoming a project manager. What can I do to get there? And so we put together a game plan. Here's a list of tasks that I would expect project managers to do. Which ones do you feel comfortable taking on right now? And we worked together to plan ahead. Had he not come to me and asked for that, I may not have known that he was ready to start moving on to the next level. But your tone should matter. It shouldn't sound like a demand. Hey, I need more experience. I need to do this. It should sound like a teamwork. I love being part of this team, and I'd like to discuss how I can keep growing here to help contributing. It shows your loyalty to the company, but also your ambition. And the balance is what the firms want. And again, you don't get promoted just because you've been around. You get promoted because your presence there changes the outcomes of the firm. Maybe you reduce the amount of errors in a CD set. Maybe you've helped improve client communication. Maybe you've helped other staff get up to speed faster. These things aren't invisible until you talk about them. So learn to share them humbly. Frame it around the impact you have. Since I started managing the drawings, we've had fewer RFIs. That's not bragging, that's data. But a little caveat. Sometimes you'll do all the right things and the timing just isn't there. Budgets, project cycles, firm restructuring, things like that. That doesn't mean it's a no, but you need to ask, what would you like to see from me over the next few months to get there? Get some clear direction from your boss or supervisor of what their expectations are so you know how you could meet there. That question, it shows maturity and it turns that sort of rejection or that potential no into a direction. Now you know where you're going, and when you meet again, you can tell them how you got there. And if you consistently apply the feedback and you do the things that they've told you that they want you to do, you'll make it very hard for them to say no the second time. So getting a raise or promotion, it's not about luck. It's about clarity, consistency, and having communication with your boss so that you both know what's going on. You can't control the timing necessarily, but you can control how you show up. These are the things in your hands. You may not be able to set the budget for staff for the year, but you can control whether you've put the work in and you've gained the growth and experience needed to get that next promotion. And if you're a person who adds value to the company, you're building trust with your boss or your supervisor, and you're growing, you have a growth mindset and you keep learning, you're not going to need to chase those opportunities because most likely they'll come to you. So stay curious, keep improving, and figure out a way to provide more value to your firm, and you're going to be guaranteed to get that next raise or promotion. All right, that's it. Let's get back to work.